Okay, hello everyone, and my presentation here is the fullback trap play in the wing tee. Just before we get going, this is going to be what we're going to be covering. And also before I get started, I just want to thank Coach Bandstra for having me on today, and make sure you bookmark his YouTube channel. There's going to be some great content on there in the upcoming weeks. So about myself, my name is Kyle McElvany. I'm a 2005 graduate of St. Mary Catholic Central, where I'm now on staff. I'm also a graduate of the University of Toledo, where I got my bachelor's in recreation management and psychology, and also a master's in special education. I'm also scheduled to earn a graduate degree in inclusive education in July here. So my coaching career, just to give you a little history, real quick history. It started in 2006 at Delta High School under Mike Vickers, who's a very successful coach in Northwest Ohio. He's known for turning around programs. I was fortunate in my first year there where we were the conference champions of the Northwest Ohio Athletic League, the Toledo Blade Pole champs, and also qualified for the Division V playoffs. Moving on from there, I was at Swanton High School for 4 years under Ben Olemaker, where I was the assistant head coach, and also worked with the offense and defensive linemen. After that coach, our head coach, had moved on to another school, I moved on to Anthony Wayne High School, coaching under Craig Smith, where I was the offensive line coach and co-offensive coordinator there. Really lucky to coach at big school level like that. The Northern Lakes League is a great league, full of good football programs like Perrysburg, at the time Sylvania Southview, Springfield. Maumee was very good at the time. And I was also really fortunate to coach a couple of good football players. 2 All-Americans, actually. One was Mason Zimmerman, who would go on to Stony Brook University, and he played in the Semper Fi All-American game. And then Jake Hartbarger, who went on to start 4 years for Michigan State at punter, and he played in the Under Armour All-American game. From there, I took my first head coaching position at Dundee High School in Monroe County. While we were there, when we took over, the year before we took over, they were 0-9 and had 4 head coaches in one season. So we had to really build trust quickly. We turned around and we went 5-4 my first year there. We were team academic all-state every year, including number 1 overall in 2019. And we were also honored by the Coaches Association for our community service efforts in 2016 and 2019. During that time at Dundee, I was also fortunate to be named to the inaugural class for the AFCA 30 under 30. Back when it was still 30 under 30, I believe it's 35 under 35 now. And then in 2019, we qualified for the Division V playoffs, losing by 1 point in the first round. In this past February, though, I stepped down from being the head coach at Dundee. There's a lot of reasons that went into it, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it was just the best move for my family and I. I took a position as the special teams coordinator, and I'll also be working with the offense and defensive line at my alma mater, St. Mary Catholic Central in Monroe, where I'm also the director of inclusion. We're actually the first Catholic high school in the state of Michigan to have a full special education program. So I'm really lucky. I enjoy what I do. I have fun at work. And now to be on the football staff as well there, I feel really blessed and fortunate. So just real quick about SMCC. We're a private Catholic school of 347 students located in Monroe, Michigan, just about a half hour south of Detroit, 20 minutes north of Toledo, Ohio. We're number 17 overall in the state of Michigan, an all-time program winning percentage. SMCC's won 4 state championships And they're 42-15 in the playoffs since 2000, running the Power T offense, which is very popular in Michigan. And I was really lucky to be a part of that as a student athlete in 2003 and 2004. We'll carry anywhere between 25 and 30 kids on varsity. And like I said earlier, we're the first Catholic high school in the state of Michigan to have a fully inclusive special education program, which I'm very proud of. So just, kind of give you an idea of who's influenced me and the offense we ran at Dundee and will run at SMCC. Jack Jarmo, who was the head coach when I was a student athlete, he was the head coach there from 1998 to 2014. He's probably the most influential person in my life after my family and a father figure to me. Other influences are, like I said, Mike Vickers, who was a head coach for over 30 years in Northwest Ohio at Ada, Hilltop, Delta, Swanton. He made a great run at Genoa with Tim Spees, and Bedford, also in Michigan. Craig Smith, who's now retired, but he was the head coach at Anthony Wayne High School for 17 or 18 years. Gasper Jarmo, who was a former head coach at Dundee and Byron Center in Michigan, and he was also an assistant at Zeeland West High School. Unfortunately, he passed away in January, way too young and too soon. Tim Spees, who's a 30-year veteran of coaching in both Ohio and Michigan, and he's also the offense coordinator at London High School in Columbus. And there's also many other influences who have made an impact on me. And the reason why I mention these guys is because as you watch this presentation, I just want to really clarify that I didn't, all of this stuff I've learned came from these guys. Like any good football coach, I, copy or stole everything I've done. So like I said, we run out of the base Power T. It says there 1 foot splits. They end up really being about 6 inches. We have our offensive line off the ball as far as possible. Our helmet, even with the center's hip. Our running backs, we have their toes at 4 yards and their arms length apart. So the fullback will line up directly behind the quarterback with his arms stretched out, and then the halfback set their alignment from there. I'll just go through this real quick. Our huddle, we line up 6 yards from the football, and the center sets the huddle. Obviously, the quarterback will be the only one talking in the huddle. For this, we spend attention to detail on the huddle. Our offensive line's up front with their hands on their thighs looking up, while our running backs and tight ends are in the back with their arms behind their back, and everybody's looking forward. Discipline starts in the huddle. Upon breaking the huddle, we'll jog to line of scrimmage. I try to remind our offensive linemen, there's a 6-second rule in between the time you break the huddle and the time you get to the line of scrimmage. You got to review in your head, what's my assignment? Is there anything special I need to do? Based on our scouting report and film, what should I expect from the defense? Does the defense have a tendency? And are there any calls I need to make? Now, to be honest with you, the average high school kid probably is not going to go through all this, but we don't do a lot. We keep it simple, and we really try to get great at just a few things, so it becomes second nature to them. Just some must-knows. If you're going to run this style of offense, you have to be 100% committed to it, and you cannot accept mediocrity. It's simplicity, and you have to have a tremendous amount of repetition. It's coach with enthusiasm, because you're not going to do a lot of things. There's not a lot of change up to it. We measure and critique our players' effort. Effort is a big thing for us. We can control, we can coach, we can correct technique, footwork, and all that. but effort's something that they have to that only they can control. It's very important for our offensive line to be able to apply their blocking rules. It's one thing to memorize the rules, but they have to be able to apply them, because when you run this kind of offense, or even the double tight wing, even the wing tee or the flex bone, any kind of run-oriented offense, you're going to see some untraditional defenses. Another thing is we put a premium on downfield blocking at the second and third level. For guys that end up upfield, we tell them to look forward. Like any offense, our quarterback is the guy that makes it go, but his mechanics are very particular, and we'll get into that as we get on with the presentation. Our fakes, we expect 20-yard fakes, and we use a layered handoff, which I'll show an example of later, but they should carry out their fakes full speed for 20 yards unless they get tackled. And for us, we are a two-gap. We put two-gap pressure on defenders by attacking from the inside out. With our fakes, we're threatening 3 to 4 gaps every play. And like it says there at the bottom, you just have to accept if you're a coach in this offense, you can't be all things to all people. People are going to bitch and complain because you don't throw the ball enough, or you're not spreading it out, or people are going to say, hey, they got 10 guys in the box. Well, we have 10 blockers as well, so you just have to trust the system. So the play that starts it all, and what we're here to talk about tonight, is 31-32 trap, fullback trap. Big note here: put the play on the stopwatch. From the snap to the time the fullback breaks the line of scrimmage, we want the play to happen in 0.98 seconds or less. We practice it every day, and every running back learns how to run the trap, even if they play halfback. We have 3 main drills, which I'll show you in a little bit, called midline drill, trap and throw, and alley drill. Fullbacks have to learn how to run the funnel and run into darkness, meaning you have to be willing to run into those piles, run into that small slit of space, because instead of trying to bounce things outside. Another key coaching point here: as the quarterback hands off and starts to carry out his fake, he gets his eyes on the Playside linebacker, because that sometimes will draw him with him. The Playside halfback, he'll take a J block path. A J block is our term for a kick out block, but he'll avoid and block at the second level. We don't waste time blocking anyone on the first level except for the guy we're going to trap, because that play should hit in less than 1 second. We expect to get 10 feet every play on trap if it's hit correctly. The backside halfback, he'll sell power, and what he's going to do is after the fake, he's going to stay wrapped up, and he's going to run into C-gap and bounce it outside, and try to carry it out full speed. The key is to accelerate after the fake. For us, we believe the more defenders you put on the line of scrimmage, the better, because all it takes is just one. We just need that one block to hit, and then we're off to the races. And for us, we use a combination of blocking schemes and backfield variations for our adjustments. So our blocking rules: the play side tight end, he has I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here, but he has the first linebacker inside to the middle third defender. The play side tackle will have the first linebacker inside. He's building a wall with the play side guard. For more simple verbiage for the play side guard, he has gap, double, backer, meaning if there's someone in A gap, he'll block down or check wide, or he'll double team with the center, or he'll go to the backside linebacker. The center, he has man on, double team away. The quarterback, now he will pivot on his play side foot. As he's doing that, he's going to seat the football, meaning bring it to his belly button, push back from the line of scrimmage and get back as deep as possible, and push that ball into the sternum and up, because the fullback's using a layered handoff, which I'll give you a visual here shortly. Then carry out a keep out fake with his eyes on the play side linebacker. He wants to run wide and sell his fake for 20 yards. The fullback, he's going to step with his play side foot first, then run down the midline, straight down the midline, up the center's crack. Receive the handoff, clamp down with the layered handoff, and then he's going to run between the double team and the trap block and try to stay in the funnel. And like I said, the play side halfback, he's going to run through C gap and block at the second level. He does not want a defensive end across his face. The backside tight end, he's going to block the middle third defender. The backside tackle, he's going to seal off. Nothing can cross his face inside. He's going to seal off to the near hip of the center. The backside guard is pulling. He will pull trap the first man head up to outside the play side guard. And then obviously we talked about everybody else. So to give you a visual, when I said the funnel, we have the double team here. The tackle's ripping inside across this defensive tackle's face to the first backer inside. Right here, the right guard this is against a 50. He's applying his gap double backer rule, double team to the backside linebacker. The play side tight end here is working first backer inside the middle third. And there's the funnel. The fullback has got to stay wrapped up. That's the key point. Stay wrapped up until you're certain you can score or you're out in the open field. And also it's important that the backside guard, as he pulls, he's throwing the elbow. He's gaining ground with his first step, which would be his right foot in this case. He's scraping against the backs of the center and working into the line of scrimmage. We call it a check mark path. He's almost running the path of a check mark into the line of scrimmage. So there is a common alignment to a common defense we see. We see a 5-4 look where these will be corners. Obviously, we got the double team here, ripping inside. This tight end's ripping inside, going to this linebacker up to the safety, one of the safeties. So this backside tight end here, he's going to rip inside, and he's on a path to the middle third defender. But if there's a linebacker in his way or another defender, he'll pick him up. He never lets anyone cross his face to the inside. The same with the backside tackle here. He's sealing off. No one crosses his face inside. Another big thing is if this backside linebacker walk up to the backside A gap, the center's got to make a domino call or a down call, and he'll block back. The right guard will block down on the nose. The center always has the backside A gap. Just some lessons learned. I've been running this offense and this play for 15 years now. Like I said, we use a layered handoff, which are better for our fakes. We put every play we run on a stopwatch, but for trap, we hope from the snap to the fullback breaking the line of scrimmage that it happens in not 0.98 seconds or less. And we do it in every rep of practice. We put on a stopwatch, and kids start to get competitive. And I think it kind of motivates them to make it a really quality rep in practice. We do midline drill daily, which I'll show you here in a moment. All the running backs do it, and they all learn how to run trap. Only our quarterback or the guards can check the wide trap. In the case of maybe we have a walked up linebacker in A gap, or we run it to a one technique side. We have run regular trap to a one technique before and trapped them. If we have a guard that's smart enough and he can widen his split on his own, we'll do it. Make sure you work on the tackle's cutting off, like as they rip across the defender's face to the second level, that on that second step, as they cross the line of scrimmage, that they plant and they go to where the linebacker's gonna be and not where he is currently. That's a difficult thing they have to learn, is just cutting and blocking on the run. It's also important that the quarterback has to get off the midline and get depth on his first step after the snap to avoid that pulling guard. He can't pivot. He can't just turn around and do a 180. He's got to push off his foot and get depth. Unlike a Delaware wing tee, we do not bend the fullback's path based on whether it's an odd or even front. We want to hit quick, and we want to get 10 feet, whether it's blocked right or not. Like I said, for us, the more guys on the line of scrimmage, the better, because we know you might stop us for the first couple times, but eventually trap's going to hit if you have a ton of guys on the line of scrimmage. Like I said, fullbacks have to stay wrapped up in that layered handoff, meaning arms are crossed. Your thumbs should end up over right around the nipple area if you're staying wrapped up. And it'll make more sense when I show you a visual picture here shortly. Be patient. Against well-coached defenses, it takes a few tries before it hits, but when it does, it'll hit big. And you also have to have somebody good in the box. Confirm within the first series what the linebackers are reading. Are they reading guards? Are they reading the near back? Are they cross-keying halfbacks? Are they reading the quarterback's face mask and going opposite? And another thing I learned from a buddy of mine, Kevin Shelb, who's the offensive line coach at Lima Central Catholic, is create an if-then chart for your offense. If the defense is doing this, here's our blocking adjustment, or here's a new play we can run. So midline drill. Over here it's a picture I found off the internet, but this is what a layered handoff looks like. Arms are crossed over each other, and then when they get the handoff, it's punched. The ball's being pushed into the sternum and up as the player's clamping down. So that's what a layered handoff looks like. So midline drill. We try to get as many reps as we can in 10 minutes. Ideally, the goal is 60 total reps. And here's the setup. So over here, we'll have a center quarterback, the fullback with his toes at 4 yards, running 32 trap. Then these are 2 agility dummies, and that's where he's staying in the funnel. Over here, they're running 31 trap. So this side will go, then the other side will go rapid fire, and the running backs are constantly switching lines. Then after 5 minutes, the quarterbacks and centers switch sides. We'll add a coach in here as well with an agility or a shield, to make the running backs cut. We set this drill up on the line on the field horizontally. So we're using the lines on the field to give them a visual of the midline to reinforce the proper footwork. And again, we have a coach standing almost right next to the agility bags on both sides. And they're there to stop watch, and they're there watching the footwork of the quarterback. Is the quarterback bringing the ball back to his stomach, what we call seeding the ball? Is he pushing back, getting depth? Is the fullback using a layered handoff? A couple other things is try to have 2 or 3 footballs per lines. We want to snap every 10 seconds. So this is a real workout for the centers. If you have 4 centers, it's great because they can go about 5 reps or so and then switch and take turns. But it's a lot. We're snapping the football every 10 seconds. Obviously, we don't expect our quarterback to carry out 20-yard fake after every one of these, but we do want him to carry out his first 4 steps full speed. And this is midline drill. So the next drill is called trap and throw. And the goal for these drills, too, is we want to try to get as many guys involved in the drills as we can. So this is a group session drill. On one side of the field, we have the offensive line without the tight ends, a quarterback and a fullback. Then we have a scout defense. And obviously these guys in the yellow here are coaches. These down here, they're working 31 and 32 trap against even, odd, and P&T front or double eagle, whatever you want to call it. 10 yards away on the other side, we have the skeleton of the offense. We have a center, both tight ends, the running backs, and the quarterback, and they're going through our base play action. In the preseason, we do this for about 20 minutes, and then we're rotating the quarterbacks and fullbacks every 5 minutes. And then usually that's me here in the middle. I'm looking back between both drills. And again, the goal is to try to involve as many kids as possible. Alley drill. So alley drill is a half line setup. So over here, as you see, the left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, tight end, half of a defense, and then all the halfbacks, and then just the opposite on this side. So what's nice is your first team offensive line is getting a lot of reps. And then obviously you're starting to work in some other guys too. You're working in the extra guard. And you can rotate in other guys fairly easy. They're mirrored 10 yards apart. One of the key points here is and we do this to rep trap and power and belly too. We have a coach standing just about 3 yards outside the tight end here, because that forces, when we're working trap, we're making sure that they're getting downhill. When we're working on power, they're getting downhill. I've seen on YouTube, some coaches will actually do this drill with a fence right here to make sure they're getting downhill. It's really important to plan out where your coaches are standing. The coaches should not be standing in the back behind the lines, for two reasons. One, you're not getting the best visual. And two, sometimes it just turns into a BS session. We also have another coach, since we're working all right-handed plays. He'll stand right in front of the left halfback. So he's seeing the center and the guard's footwork here. And then I've seen myself in the past as the head coach, and now, or as the coordinator, I was right here in the middle, in between here. And there's a 10-yard window. But just doing this, you see how many guys are involved. Then we have a coach back here running the scout team on both sides. And this is alley drill. So after trap, our next adjustment is trap influence, where we're pulling the play side guard. So now it's tough against a 5'2" or 50 end front with a nose guard, but because you're putting the center one-on-one with him. But assuming you can do it, this is for teams that read guards. Now, when you hear influence, when the play side tackle and play side tight end hear influence, they need to remember that means next man inside. So on a normal trap, the play side tackle will be going to the first linebacker inside, which is right here. Now, they'll be going all the way to the backside linebacker. The tight end will be going to the first backer inside. And now we're selling sweep here. The play side halfback's going up and around to the play side linebacker. Everything else stays the same. Pull trap. Now the play side guard is pulling. He can either pull and kick out this guy, or he can pull around. It's your preference. Usually though, we just have him pull around, because it doesn't matter. This guy's not going to make the play unless they're a very disciplined defense as far as squeezing down blocks. So this would be Brown. For us at Dundee, this would have been called Brown 32 trap influence. Some other variations: gut, which is, the traditional Delaware wing tee blocking scheme. Base, which is everybody's just base blocking. Switch, which is between the play side guard and play side tackle. Tex, which is between the tackle and the tight end. Wave was for a certain defense game plan thing, but it's also, the play side guard and play side tackle influence outside. End flare is when the tight ends will outside release, and so will the halfbacks. They'll both flare outside like we're running the old quick pitch play. And we can also run wide trap, which is we'll trap the next man on the line of scrimmage and double team or block down the defender we would normally trap. Like I said, we also have backfield looks that look different. One is J, where both halfbacks are going to J block, or what we call kicking, our term for kicking out the end man on the line of scrimmage. Flare is when both halfbacks flare out or run a bubble route almost. Cross is we'll give the backfield to run a counter backfield action. Ricky and Larry motion is basically when the halfback will start in his position and run full speed rocket motion as the quarterback begins his cadence. Opposite is, so the entire backfield will run the 45-46 action opposite of the point of attack, which it'll make more sense if I show you the diagram. And then flood is when we just incorporate our flood motion into the play. So probably easier if I just show you diagrams here. So here's some blocking scheme variations. This is gut. We've maybe used that one time in the 5 years at Dundee. It's not one we use often. When I was at Anthony Wayne and we ran more red and blue sets with jet motion and rocket motion, we ran this. Switch now. Switch is probably an adjustment I wish we would have used more at Dundee. And you can use against an odd or even front, but mostly against even fronts. So say you have a 3 technique or a defender that's head up, very disciplined at putting his hands on the guard and squeezing down blocks. So the playside tackle and the playside guard will switch responsibilities. Now that playside tackle is going all the way to the backside linebacker. The playside guard's going to drop step with his outside foot, allowing the playside tackle time to cross his face. Then he'll go up to the first linebacker inside. The playside tight ends rule is the same, and so the blocking scheme is the same for the center, backside guard, backside tackle, and tight end. That's trap switch. Trap text now. Now that's just the playside tackle and playside tight end switching jobs. So against a 50, same idea. Say the defensive tackle is very disciplined at squeezing down if a tackle crosses his face. Now it's giving him a false read. Maybe it's going to hopefully it forces him to at least take a step outside. The tight end will go to the first linebacker inside while the tackle will drop step and then go up to the second level. If anyone crosses his path, he'll block them. Otherwise, he's working to the middle third defender. Everything else is the same. Again, it's just a slight tweak in the blocking scheme. Wave. So this is now, when we get in this formation, this year we ran a lot of fullback toss. We were at Dundee the last couple of years actually because we had a really good fullback who's signed with the University of Findlay now. We're selling quick pitch here or fullback toss. The play side guard and tackle are influence pulling to the play side. So, and you can only really run this to a tight end wing set because you have to have 2 blockers at the second level. The tight end's going to the first backer inside, and the wing is going as well. And also it puts you in the center's again put in a tough spot, leaving one-on-one with the nose. So there is times we'll actually have that center cut the nose if he's hard to block. The other thing is we'll tell our backside tight end in this look to try to always block the first linebacker inside as well. Like I said, we maybe use this once or twice because there's a game plan specific for a team, but I wanted to put it in here just to give you guys an idea. End flare. So both halfbacks are flaring. And, it's real simple. End flare, because I also want the ends to flare out. We ran this because we noticed on film that this team, the corners were reading the steps of the tight end. When the tight ends were stepping down, these corners were flying up to stop the run. So simply we just had the tight ends flare out. And with the halfbacks flaring out as well, the safeties that were up here were stepping outside as well. And then it's just simple 31-32 trap blocking scheme for the guards, tackles, and center. And we also like to use this flare when linebackers are reading the near halfback or cross keying. Wide trap, here's a good look. Now on wide trap, the tight ends have to realize that they have the first linebacker inside. And this is a more deliberate play. It's not as quick of a hitter as inside trap. The fullback, after he gets the handoff, and as soon as he's getting towards the center, he will actually take a slide step and then hug that wall as he's working upfield. Or we say scrape the wall, scrape paint off the wall. Again, we emphasize to our quarterback to get his eyes on the Playside linebacker as he's sprinting outside, carrying out his fake. So here's some backfield action variations we'll use. Trap J. Both halfbacks are J blocking. And we do this for linebackers that are, if they're keying the near halfback, this will force them both to try to step. It'll draw them at least a step outside towards C gap and open up that funnel a little bit. T rock, or what we call flood motion, because we do a sprint out flood concept off of this same look. Trap cross, which is probably I use this probably 3 to 4 times a game. It's counter backfield action, but we're still running trap. It's still 32 trap for everyone else. The quarterback will set up to throw after the fake instead of carrying out a keep course. Larry is the right halfback is running a rocket motion as soon as the quarterback starts his cadence. Trap opposite now, like I said. So we're running 32 trap up front, and then the backfield's actually running 45 power. So we got a J block here. The halfback's running his power left course. And then the quarterback will hand off and boot away. Just wrapping up, trap is a great play. I think it can be run out of any offense. There's been years where we've been in the gun and we've run trap out. While it hits about 1 second slower, it can be done still. I've never ran it out of the pistol, but I've obviously seen some teams that have and do it well. I think it's big to stopwatch your plays. I learned that from Tim Spees. Is stopwatch your plays, and over time you'll come up with an average time that each play should hit the line of scrimmage. If I can be of any help, please don't hesitate to contact me via email or Twitter or text message. Everything I've learned here is come from someone else. I've been very lucky in my career to be mentored by some great coaches. And depending on the response to this video, I'll follow up with more clinics on Coach Bandstra's channel. What he's doing is a great thing. It's free professional development for coaches, and it's just a great opportunity for guys to learn. Some other upcoming clinics I'm doing. On March 20th on chiefpigskin.com, I'm talking on connecting your program to the community. I'll be talking about some of the things we did at Dundee to help connect the community to our program, to the program. If you're not familiar with Chief Pigskin, it's about $10 a month for a subscription. It's for high school coaches by high school coaches. There's a lot of good speakers on there who maybe they're not big name guys in the country, but they put together some really quality presentations. Personally, in my opinion, I think value-wise, that's probably better than some of the other choices out there as far as virtual clinics. Another website is called the Coaches Lounge, and that's also launching on March 20th. I think that's more of just articles, but I wrote an article for them on adding the trap play to your offense. CoachTube is something that I just came across recently. I know it's been around for a while, but I'll be doing some clinics on there, including program building and taking over a struggling program, fullback run game in the wing tee, the power toss. I'll be doing an expanded version of this clinic presentation, and also be talking about the power series. My plan is all clinics on there I do will always be $12 or less. And also, if you ever want me to take a look at game film or do a custom clinic for you, I'll try my best to help you. Like I said, I've been really lucky to learn from some good coaches and be mentored by some great coaches. And as I've gained experience, I'd be happy to give something back and help out younger guys. So if you're interested in any of these or have any questions, feel free to contact me. Now on to film. So right here is going to be 32 trap. This is against an even front. Again, our tackle falls. He should have got up and kept going. Our tight end should have kept going instead of turning back and looking for someone. He should have worked to the middle third defender here. Regardless, though, 9-yard play. So here we have an unbalance. We went end over to the field because we knew their 3 technique was going to widen. We're running 31 trap here. Number 33, he hits it really fast. He's the one that's going on to play at the University of Findlay next year. I don't particularly like our stances here, or why they're deeper than one another. They should all be balanced. He should have took the right tackle, backside tackle should have took a harder step inside to seal off. Also, his hands should have been up higher to take the layered handoff. Quarterback dropped his hands. The quarterback should be sprinting this way. He should have been running them off or stop blocking, but still ends up being a good play for us. Here's 32 trap. Actually, this is 34 wide trap. This is mislabeled. And I included this in here because the fullback does not get his hands up high enough to take in a layered handoff. Watch, his hands are low. He takes the handoff incorrectly. And bad things happen. 31 trap. again, like I said, you have to be willing to run in darkness. Sometimes there's not going to be a whole lot of daylight there. What I don't like here is the quarterback is turning around and watching the play. He should have his eyes on this kid right here as he's sprinting away. There's a nice job by the Playside tackle. Block on second level. This is trap flare now, so both of these halfbacks should be flaring out. What I don't like here is that Playside, the pulling guard now. He's pulling left, so he should be trapping with his left shoulder and his head on the inside. That's another key coaching point. Pull left, trap left. Pull right, trap right. Either have your head on the inside. Backside tackle does a nice job sealing off here. Our tight ends needed to be a little more aggressive and make it be more decisive with who they're blocking. They just weren't sure there. I should have done a better job coaching that. So 32 trap cross. We have counter backfield action. The pulling guard, he should have been a little lower. We tell them to put their shoulder on the hip of the defender when they're pull trapping. Again, our tackle gets to the second level here and he just kind of stops. They got to run through defenders at the second level, not run to them. Again, here's 32 trap flare. Again, our tight ends just are not very decisive here. But sometimes it just helps to have a really good athlete. Here's 32 trap. I don't like our quarterback's fake here. I think the backside tackle does a decent job sealing off. Good pad level. Our play side tackle just did not get to the linebacker quick enough. He should be cut, like I said earlier, on his second step or when he crosses the line of scrimmage. So once he gets to here, he needs to adjust his path to the linebacker. This kid, our right tackle here, was a sophomore, so he was still learning at the time. Cut and run your feet. So here's 31 trap. Just to give a little backstory, the whole night we've been running fullback toss out of this formation. And we didn't really even get a good fake out of it, but still, sometimes it just helps to have a good athlete. So now, like I said, we've been running fullback toss, and on our fullback toss, we have it down, and pull both guards. So we're going to run an influence trap here, hopefully draw the linebackers outside. So we get a little bit. He goes, but the other guy did not. We had poor pad level and footwork there as well, but still not bad. So here we have 31 trap cross. So I have counter backfield action. Here's ends flare. So we saw on film that these guys were, the corners were walking up the line of scrimmage and reading the footwork of the tight ends, and the safeties were reading the halfbacks. So we've had kids of all types here. We've had big guys, short guys. The big thing is speed for us, is we need guys that can hit the trap in 1 second, 0.98 seconds or less. Again, here's another look at ends flare. This kid here, number 28, he ended up finishing this season, I believe, with just under 1,400 yards rushing. So as you see, they're stepping outside. As long as we get a couple blocks at the second level, we're off to the races. Here comes trap with flood motion behind it. Run the funnel, staying tight to that wall. Again, our goal is 10 feet on this play. Ends flare again. This was the first game, I believe, of the season. Yeah, first game of the season. So our tackle, the Playside tackle here, does a decent job. He crosses the line of scrimmage, cuts, and really springs it. Our tight ends need to get to the second level, though. But since they were flaring outside and influencing, I can't really blame them for not getting to the middle third defender. Here's a wide trap. I wanted to put this in because I wanted to show you the difference on the fullback's path here. He comes to the line of scrimmage and takes a slide step for that path. Slide. There you go. And he ends up bouncing this, but still. Another wide trap. And teams that run this offense and really run it, dedicate solely just the T and don't get into other looks, probably end up using wide trap more because they're very C-gap dominant. When I was at Dundee, we did not do a ton of wide trap. We ran a lot of belly instead, but and the goal's 10 feet. Anything past that, we'll take it. Trap influence. So we're running rocket motion here. Playside guards pulling outside because on our rocket, we pulled the playside guard. This is Hillsdale, who's a very well-coached defense. They always gave us problems on defense. But the influence pull and the fakes was just enough. This was from our first year at Dundee in 2015. This was actually the first time in school history that Dundee beat Hillsdale. There's, again, 31 trap. This is a nice job by our guard here, even though I don't like him leading with his head. But he's at the right pad level. He's aiming for the hip of that defender. .31 trap again. So this is from 2015. This was the group of kids that were 0-9 the year before, but this group they had enough of losing. They wanted to be successful, and they trusted us. So we did trap influence here, it looks like. Yep. And watch the fakes. Watch them go with the fakes here. Number 11 does an astound. Our right halfback here does a great job faking, which really makes this play go. And the fullback doesn't come unwrapped. He stays hunched over. We got into a little funky formation here called tank, where we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys on the line of scrimmage on one side of the center, just to see how they'd line up, and really just to run trap. I just threw it in there because it was fun to see that formation after a while. T over left, 32 trap. So here we're in unbalanced to the left, and we're actually running it back to the nub side. And we get lucky here. We caught him in a blitz. I wish our fullback would have stayed wrapped up here, but I believe this is the last one. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, so hopefully you guys are still with me. Here's my contact information. Like I said, I'm now an assistant coach now on staff at St. Mary Catholic Central High School in Monroe, Michigan. Here's my email, kmcElvany@smccmonroe.com, or Twitter is probably the best way to get a hold of me, or the quickest way, at Coach McElvany. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to better yourselves and hear what I have to say about the trap play. And I encourage you to keep checking out Coach Bandstra's YouTube channel. It's only going to get bigger and better.